What is going on, guys? This is your boy Az. We are back here. We're going to be talking about the War Tower Omega, and we're going to be taking a look here at floors 7 to 12 here. And again, look at the team composition, and of course, as well, some of the teams that I will be basically preparing myself here to get the next set of floors. Again, just a reminder, these will be available to us later on in the week as well on the Friday, basically at the reset. And yeah, it's nice that we are able to, if you guys haven't already had a chance to look at them in game, they are viewable and you can kind of start strategizing and planning away here. But yeah, I'm just hoping this video gives you guys a bit of guidances on terms of my thoughts and kind of where I'll be taking my approach. And of course as well, just based on what I've seen already initially in game, it does seem like for the most part, if people can get through 1 to 6 from earlier on this week, right, the earlier floor sets, then 7 to 12 doesn't seem all that bad. I think for the most part, people should be able to get through, I think, 7 to 9 fairly easy, free to play. And then, of course, as well, 10 and 11 may be a little bit more strategy involved. And, of course, we'll test around here to see if we can minimize and maximize it. Meanwhile, also, not building up too many war teams, right, and crippling us in the future, right, for events. But hopefully, hopefully makes sense. Hopefully helps you guys out. And of course, as you guys know, the other content creators, Rage, myself, Desir, Boyoan, Gideon, just to name a few, right? But we will definitely for sure get some footage out for you guys, right? Great content from everybody there, and just a big shout out to all the boys doing the work here and putting forward and getting some strats out for us, right? So anyways, let's quickly jump into the first floor here so you guys can have a look. So upon initial inspection, you'll see that we do have basically sort of a new mutant with Old Man Logan and Jeff the Lion Shark. And also keep in mind, Jeff, Gwen, and Deadpool drop on the second wave. So this gives us a little bit of glimmer of hope here. So basically we're fighting up against New Mutants plus Old Man Logan. And then, of course, as well, that will translate to Jeff, Deadpool, and Gwen shortly after that. And I feel like as long as we deal with Old Man Logan, and hence why I've got him arrowed here, I feel like for the most part, should be fairly straightforward. And on top of that, Jeff is by himself, so it shouldn't be too bad. Okay, so back in game here, and again, reiterating here that Old Man Logan's kind of a monster on his own. So of course, you want to deal with him, and then of course as well, we are going to have some issues here with the New Mutants. Luckily, this is not Cosmic Crucible, so a lot of their buffs are kind of stuck behind the Cosmic Crucible side, but it will be definitely for sure annoying because what is it? He spawns basically with deflection, and does he get a taunt as well? Yeah, he's gonna have a taunt here. So on spawn, gain 2 deflect and 3 taunt for 2 turns, and yeah, luckily he doesn't get all his buffs because he's not in Crucible. But for sure, Cannonball will be an issue here just at the start here because we got to get rid of his taunt before we can get to Old Man Logan. And luckily for us, yeah, the entire Mercs team isn't there. But what is important to note, I will say, is Dakin is on the board, which means you got to be careful of him because if we do bring Invisible Woman, he's going to get that extra little 60% fill on the speed bar, and he's going to be able to chain and probably bleed us out a little bit here, depending on the size of the team. But I don't think for the most part it should be too difficult. Right off the get-go, I mean, if we jump into the hero section, we do have lots of different characters we can use for this first set. And I think the straight one out of the gates that everyone is probably thinking of is probably Fantastic Four, right? And again, just be careful with Invisible Woman because she does get that stealth, so that's going to fill Dakin up. So we could basically run a 3-piece Fantastic Four without her. But, I mean, even if you ran it without her, yeah, her buffs and passive is just way too good. Like, she basically causes, whenever a Fantastic Four uses their special or ultimate, they attack the most injured ally for 150% damage. So no, that's way too good, right? So we can't pass that up here. And then let's not forget her Vortex, which basically sucks everybody up and also strips positives and the defense down. So even if we get a little scratched for a Dagon at the start, probably not a good idea if you don't use Fantastic Four. On top of that, there is actually some there's quite a bit, right? Like I feel like Vigilante may have a factor here as well. Liberty, if you got Liberty built up, but Vigilante might be okay as well here because they are quite good against Old Man Logan. If you guys recall, back in the negative zone, we actually used our Vigilante, right, to take out Old Man Logan on, I think it was Cell Node 5, I think it was, right, where it spawned with the Old Man Logan, and yeah, we could literally run, I think, maybe a 4-piece Vigilante with, or maybe a 2-piece Vigilante with Fantastic Four, right, and get things going there. Alternatively, I think you can also stick your Illuminati because they were quite good for us in the first section, right, in the first node, in the first cell. And I think in this case, this would also be similar here. Captain Britain, to be able to taunt and apply the ability, the stuns and the apply the deflect to all hero characters. Even if you're not using the full team, I feel like he could benefit all the heroes because of the fact that he benefits them all. Hank for the passive heals, the speed up, right? The on spawn speed up is massive. He's the one that gives speed up, right? I forget who gives actual speed up. I think it's him. Apply speed up to self and all allies and attacking enemies on turn, flipping stealth. Yeah, he's so good. Like, he's so good even at low levels. So I'm probably going to most likely use an Illuminati just to see how it goes. And worst case, if we need to pivot, we can pivot. Because, yeah, our Illuminati isn't that big. It's only 4.3 mil. And, yeah, not the biggest team. But I feel like their abilities are important. And maybe we can sub out... sub out Black Bolt or Mr. Fantastic for Franklin and Sue or something, right? Just to get a little ampage of damage, right? If we're not using Fantastic Four, just thinking outside the box here. But let's quickly jump into this. Let's jump back to the other set of slides. Okay, so again, just take care of Old Man Logan and then wait for the Jeff Landshark drop. Cell 8. So this is another hard one because now we're switching gears back to global villains, and previously we had used Cabal and Orcus and Phoenix Force, and now we're up against actually this team, right? Now keep in mind, the Nightcrawler and the Phoenix Force actually drop on the second set. So that means the first wave we're basically just trying to handle the Alpha Flights with the Super Skrull and Shadow King. But nonetheless, those 5 characters there are still very, very difficult to deal with. So I don't think this one will be a cakewalk, but because of the fact that we have Super Skrull with some of the with North Star, there's some speed manipulation there that we'll need to handle, and of course as well, Nightcrawler is going to drop with the next set. Thank goodness he's not dropping with Super Skrull, but definitely for sure adds a little bit of strategy there. So we'll have to figure that out as we go through it. And let's go in game here and take a look at the characters. Okay, so back in game here, and yes, if you guys recall here, we had used actually LDS, Nimrod, Scientist Supreme plus Phoenix Force in the last earlier set of floors, right? So that's what we did there. And of course as well, I feel like because we are up against a Phoenix Force team, and we've also got a lot of speed manipulation as well here with Super Skrull, there definitely needs to be some way to manipulate some speed. We're going to definitely try it out for sure, I think, with Apocalypse first, just to make sure we have characters on board that can get that extra. Because, yeah, remember, he benefits, right? His passive benefits basically all the villains, right? All allies get the extra health, but they also benefit 15% for each villain, 40, all this extra stuff here. And, yeah, it just really helps out here. And we're talking about villains. Cabal may very well be very beneficial here because there's evasion, there's defense up. They're going to give lots of buffs and safeguard to the Cabal allies. I really like Cabal because not only are they Cosmic Crucible, but they also shine really, really well in war as well, right? And so hence why I feel like this would be a very, very solid lineup. We'll have to test it out and see here. LDS and a company may work as well, but definitely for sure we don't want to be using our null, or sorry, not our null, sorry, our Undying this early yet. Undying is another good subset. If you're not planning to use Undying later on, they could very well be the puzzle piece that we need for this, especially Scarlet Witch, because of the fact that if she's over 50% health, speed of all enemies can only be increased by positive effects, and enemies can't fill the speed bar. So essentially what that means here is we'll go back here again here. So remember we had North Star, and we had Super Skrull, And I'd say, out of that batch, these are probably the two most problematic characters because of the fact that they can fill their speed bar. His passive alone, when he hits, right, allows for him to, what is it? He fills up it's 5% per, yeah, so when a positive effect is gained or a negative effect is on their allies, then he's going to fill his speed bar by about 10%. So every time there's a buff. So for example, we know how many buffs these guys like to give. The Alpha Flight team is very annoying for buffs, right? But especially this guy here because, yeah, apply 2 evasion. So they're going to get some little buffs there. And then, of course, as well, where's that part here? So I guess this is in raids. So he gets 25% speed, but that's in raids, right? So I guess that wouldn't really impact here. But yeah, he'd still, what is it? On enemy death, apply speed up to self and all Alpha Flight allies. So he'd get a massive little boost of speed. And yeah, that's just something we don't want. But yeah, we can stop all that. We can stop all that with Scarlet Witch. And I feel like Phoenix Force would also be very good here because they can also bleed out Skrull as well. The blinds will be nice because then they can cause everybody to miss. But yeah, like I said, we'll have to see how that goes here. So it'll probably be a most likely combination of Cabal and Apocalypse. Or maybe I'll switch things up and go Cabal and or sorry, not Cabal, sorry, with Orcus and of course as well we can go for maybe, I don't know, like we can use our Phoenix Force maybe if we're not planning to use them on, or maybe if we want to use our Undying, right? If we're not going to use them later on, I guess we can always see here. Shaw might be good as well because he can apply the stun to Super Skrull and he'll hit back and protect everybody. Emma Frost for that speed, right? For the speed minus speed. But other than that, yeah, I guess Dakin might actually be a good one here as well because he can fill his speed bar, right? If there's a, when Super Skrull or whoever goes stealth, he's going to get some speed bar there. And ours is level 105 tier 20 because we got him for free from the Best Buddies event. So if you have him at G20, why the heck not, right? Why the heck not? So that's kind of the team there. Again, Cabal will be good because we can get that minus, speed bar thanks to Namor's ult. And the defense down from Iron Patriot will also come in handy as well here. But lots of different teams, guys. Lots of different team comps. I think this is, yeah, we'll see here. Obviously, if you have Winter Guard, you could literally probably just shove Winter Guard in there as well. Partial pieces of Winter Guard, right, with Omega Red, Dark Star, and of course as well, was it just 2? I guess Ares would be good too because he blocks the Safeguard, right? So yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll see here. Lots of options if you have them built up. But we'll see how it goes here when it does go live on Friday. Let's quickly switch back now. So the next cell is back to Heroes now. So now this is funny because now we're up against basically Heroes for Hire, which is a previously old war team that was quite good way back in the day, right? So of course as well, we'll also have the second wave dropping with basically the Young Avengers, right? Which was another meta team that was way back in the day because they were needed, I think, for I forget who. I think it was for Shadow King or Old Man Logan, but they were needed for an unlock for somebody. I just forget who. But yeah, again, we'll have to see how that goes here. Let's quickly jump in game here. Just a couple of passives to be aware of. So yes, if you guys recall here, Shang-Chi was really good way back in the day, and of course I did bring him up for Dark Dimensions, and he was pretty awesome. But yeah, his ult, right, applies for the rewind and applying speed up to his allies. So yeah, it was actually really annoying here, and it's got pretty short cooldowns too. Colleen also has she also has the ability basically to what is it? Was it speed manipulation or offense down? No, it wasn't her. I think it might have been Misty. Sorry, my bad. It's been a while. Fill speed bar by 20% for self and all hero allies. So this is where, yeah, they've got the speed up, they've got a fill on the speed bar, and then of course as well, they've got a little bit of the like I said, the rewind from Shang-Chi. Obviously Iron Fist was reworked, so he helps a little bit as well. So yeah, obviously I would say this is not a weak team, and we did use, the third hero section, we did use our Odin and Fantastic Four, and honestly, I can't see us not using Fantastic Four here because Fantastic Four is Fantastic Four, right? So, but I would also say because it is the last section we can use Mythics and stuff, I would also recommend, like, if you guys have Odin, if you guys have Professor Xavier, it's going to be a cakewalk, right? It's going to be fairly straightforward. Blue Marvel, Heck, you could probably use Brimstone here too, right? But we want to save Brimstone. But yeah, lots of options here. Actually, come to think of it, yeah, Quasar would stop all the speed manipulation as well, right? So he would be definitely an option there. Yeah, but we don't want to use Quasar just yet because there's obviously later sections we can use him in. Liberty would also be fine here. Yeah, there is quite a few hero options. Mercs would also work, but I do feel like we should save our Mercs for later on as well if you can. But yeah, throw the Fantastic Four, slap it on the Odin. Odin can just laser these guys to death. Yeah, we'll see how it goes here when it does go live, but I think that's going to be the plan here. It doesn't look like I'm going to change too much from my initial plan, which is to use Odin and company. And yeah, if you're not using Fantastic Four in the first section, then maybe perhaps use them in this section because, yeah, it could very well be the last time you get a chance to use these guys. Plus, Odin is a mythic, so you're not going to be able to use Odin again if you don't use Odin. Professor X, same thing. I don't think, for the most part, I feel like 7 to 9 will be kind of like a give me, hopefully. And then yeah, 10, 11, and 12, I think are going to be the ones that are going to be a little bit of theory crafting involved, just depending on the teams, right? Okay, so back on the slides, this is a weird one because they actually have a 4-piece Guardians that drops, and then Jeff actually doesn't make his entry until the second wave, which I guess is probably when maybe there's one or less, well, maybe 2 or less people, and then he drops with the rest of the Guardians, I guess, right? And Sasquatch is on there as well. But for the most part, I don't know if this one will be that difficult because all these are like pre 3.0 characters. So based on what I'm understanding here, and again, you can use Brimstone here because Brimstone's going to absolutely just demolish these guys. If you can't use Brimstone later on in the sections and force kind of your limit, Brimstone could very well do it for you guys there. But I think, based on what I'm seeing here in terms of the speed side of things, we may be able to incorporate our Quasar here so that if Jeff does his, his ult, he's going to stop all that speed progression. And again, as well, I was very lucky to have his ultimate from a leaderboard event, which was really, really nice for me. But his passive is what it matters here, right? Quasar's passive will basically prevent the speed bar from filling up. Enemies cannot fill speed bar for themselves or allies, so this will block out Jeff's his time warp, right? But on top of that as well here, because of how slow the Guardians team is, we may be able to incorporate our Knight Stalkers once again here with Blade and Oath leading the charge, and of course applying mass blinds and just kind of timing it so that when Jeff drops, we can take advantage of that. And also because there was quite a few of the Guardian allies, we could also take advantage of the fact that there's no speed manipulation on halting our speed, right? So Kahori would also be a very nice choice here. So again, it's very much looking like a similar team that we had ran basically for our other ones, right, where we use Kahori, Night Stalkers, Surfer Breaker of course as well, or we could potentially try some other combinations. But like I said, I think Brimstone may be the key one here if you don't have those other ones built up. And if you want to save your Brimstone, for a later section, you very well could. Black Knight would also have some good value here as well because the Guardians is fairly weak and he would just shred them up. Yeah, but we'll see here. Lots of different options here. If you didn't use your Illuminati, you could also bring in Captain Britain here as well. I feel like that's a really good choice. But yeah, I think I was a little surprised. We'll have to see if 10 is going to give us a curveball or not, because 7 and 8 and 9 already seem very straightforward, and then 10 actually seems, in my opinion, it seems very much more doable than the Cell 4 that we had faced, right? Where there was, if you guys recall, there was like an Odin, there was some very, very annoying Sasquatch with the on spawn taunt. But yeah, I guess in this case, I guess that one's also true here. But yeah, but Jeff, I feel like, yeah, if he's by himself and he doesn't have his allies, he just doesn't have that impact, right? Unless, like I said, unless they really jump up his stats, I guess. But we'll see. He does hit pretty hard, so we'll see how that goes here. Let's switch back now. Okay, so now we get to the fun one. I think 11 for sure is going to be difficult because we've got Kahori, we've got Absolute A-Force here, which is an absolute pain in our arse. There's also the fact that we have Dormammu, Thanos Endgame, Yeah, so I mean, right now, just off the top of my head, this team almost looks like it's built for Brimstone. Brimstone or maybe perhaps Winter Guard. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Okay, so yeah, again, I should have mentioned that with regards to the Cell 11, we're not going to get the Doom on spawn here. He's going to follow after in the second wave, basically, with Quicksilver. And yeah, so that's unfortunate because that means Daemon basically can't do a double tap. If there was a, if there was a Doom bot, we could totally take advantage of that, right? But what I will say is that Living Mummy will give us that massive speed boost to the team, 7%, right? And of course as well, we also get Hellcat, allowing her to block out the speed manipulation, right? She's going to be able to take out some of that speed for us so that Kahori won't be able to get a double turn on us. But that doesn't change the fact that with the Absolute A-Force, which is, obviously they're an absolute pain in our arse, they have Miss Marvel Classic and, whoa, I can't spell. I can't spell, sorry. Yeah, they have Miss Marvel Classic, and yeah, she's a pain. Like, she's going to get the charge, and then if somebody drops below 50%, she gets the taunt, right? And yeah, there's just, like, look at all of these bonuses. Like, this is when they were adding so many passives. It's just crazy, right? Yeah, so when they drop below 40%, clear and apply defense up, evasion, safeguard. Like, it's not cool. It's not fun, right? And again, this is the global, not mythic, right? So global section and lots of different characters we can utilize here. I'm almost thinking here that if you guys recall, we actually used Rage's improvised team here, right? With the Storm, the Nightcrawler, the Old Man Logan. We could totally try that again as well, right? Because yeah, again, if we have some way to block the speed bar, for example, if you guys recall, I had mentioned earlier to save, if you have Undying available to you, Scarlet Witch may be an option here as well here because she would block out. Oh gosh, where the heck is she? She's where the heck is she? She's further down, I think, because I don't really have her leveled up here. But she's gonna be able to block out the speed, and they can't fill the speed bar, right? So Kahori would get blocked by this, and then we could combine her with Storm, Old Man Logan, Nightcrawler, and be able to do some things there, right? But yeah, it does look like Brimstone should succeed, unless I'm mistaken. But yeah, we'll have to try it out, right? When it does go live, obviously, and perhaps Retcon, right? Retcon with Jeff as well, countering Jeff, of course as well, right? Jeff would be able to do some pretty massive damage here, and you can bring in Deadpool for the stun. But nonetheless, a lot of different comps we can use here. Liberty, I see that as well. But yeah, Undying will definitely most likely probably be an option here as well. But like I said, you can probably stick that Old Man Logan combo with the Emma Frost. Emma Frost will also cancel out speed, I guess. Not the speed bar fill, but the speed. They won't be able to speed up, I guess. So that will also be nice. And we'll have to see. We'll have to see when it does go live. But yeah, lots of different options here. Also, remember our Nightcrawler on the on-spawn speed up. And, of course, as well, the special will fill up one of our allies as well. So that's kind of good here. Let's actually quickly make sure. I should have checked this before. I just want to make sure that Medusa, right? She blocks off the safeguard. But does she do anything else? They get 10% speed. Okay, well, we can block that off, right? Like I said, Scarlet Witch will block the speed. And, oh, no, sorry. Deathproof and they can't spawn with evasion. Okay, that's good to know. I always forget. Oh, man, look at all this. Look at all this crap they have. Like, they also can't spawn with the defense up. Wow, she's got a lot of passives on there. Wow. Sorry, I just do not remember that about her. But, yeah, obviously you can tell here I don't have mine super leveled up. But, yeah. Also, we're very fortunate that she's not playing here because I think she also prevents reduced speed bar by 20% on all enemies. Yeah, so we're lucky she's not on the board here. But yeah, it's just a 3-piece. Let's quickly switch back. Okay, so Cell 12 absolutely looks ridiculous. I'll tell you guys right now, this may be our limiter, and we'll see. Like I said, I do have plans to bring my Shadow Conclave team up, but I won't do it unless I have to. And yeah, like you guys can see here, there's obviously some pretty heavy hitters here. Quasar's gonna be blocking our speed. We've got Mephisto there. So Null, definitely for sure save Null for this one. If you haven't used Null, he's gonna most likely be very similar to the last tower floor set where we had to save him for the last cell. And again, we've got Emma Frost blocking speed. We've got Shadow King doing pings. We've got Rachel spreading stuns. Yeah, lots going on here. Oh, also keep in mind, the Kahori and Blastar and Thunderstrike don't drop until the second wave. So there is a little bit saving grace there. We can basically get things going on here. And then maybe once we take out Emma and Mephisto and Quasar maybe. Oh, let's take out Quasar first maybe. Then at least we can build our speed bar again. Because, yeah, Quasar will prevent the speed manipulation. And then once we get Carnage going here for our Null, maybe we can pick up some speed. And then, of course, as well, when the next wave drops, hopefully we're geared up and ready to go here. But yeah, Annihilator 3-piece was what we used last time, so it may work or may not, just depending on how much ampage they have. We'll have to see here when it does go live. Okay, so back in game here again, and like I said, we're not allowed to use mythics, but we do have the Cosmic Villain tag, and we've got Null here. Again, last time we used him on cell 6, he was massive, and then we used the 3-piece Annihilators plus Shadow King, so that's why they're harder there. But yeah, could very well be a similar strategy as well. So we are kind of using obviously very similar teams. Surfer Breaker would be another one. I feel like I'm gonna have to make sure that he's ready this time and we save him for the last cell. I feel like that heal that he does, right, the passive where he basically tops everybody's health back up, heal self for 50% of max, and when an ally drops below 50% for the first time, heal that ally for 25% of his health. So yeah, I may actually bring him up a little bit if we need to first, maybe before we even do the Shadow Conclave. But yeah, let's do that. Let's do probably most likely a combination, like I said, where we can take advantage of the Cosmic Villains. Whoops, I think I tagged this wrong. There we go, that's better. So yeah, we should be able to use Shadow King, Surfer Breaker plus 3-piece. And yeah, I guess we'll have to go. We'll have to see. Otherwise, yeah, we don't really have that many options, right? It's literally Shadow Conclave, Omen, or 3-piece Annihilators, right? That's kind of it. Trust me, I've looked for stuff, and it does not work anywhere other way than that. So yeah, it's kind of the way it goes. It's kind of the way it goes here. So yeah, it looks like it'll be similar to how we ran our first 6, with maybe some slight changes, right? So again, the first section, there's gonna be quite a bit of the just some mishmash teams, and Jeff the Landshark's kind of the most important piece there in the first one, just to kind of get you warmed up. And Illuminati, I think, is gonna be very important for that one there. So you want to make sure you can take advantage of that while you can. And of course as well, once you move into the next section, then we're gonna be kind of more. We'll have to see here with that section, because of the fact that we are going to be up against, for example, our own counterparts, Phoenix Force members. Plus, there will also be just trying to remember here, right? The Alpha, right? The Alpha Flight people. There's going to be Sasquatch and Shadow King and North Star. So yeah, I don't know if regular teams are going to work here without Apocalypse. So definitely for sure, I think Apocalypse is going to be required here. But we'll test around and we'll see how it goes here. And we may have to bring Apocalypse in place of, maybe with a Cabal, so we get the Safeguard. That way Skrull can't rip things off. That's what I feel anyways. The next one is going to be Mercs for Money. Mercs for Money, sorry. Heroes for Hire, not Mercs for Money. Heroes for Hire is going to be the first set. And then the second set, we're going to get the Young Avengers. But yeah, I'd say if you're not using Fantastic Four in the first couple sections, bring out your Odin, and he'll most likely be able to laser them all to death, and it's going to be fairly straightforward. The next one is basically the Guardians with Jeff the Landshark. I don't know. I feel like for Cell 10, I feel like this one was easier than our Cell 4 that we had dealt with the Odin and Dormammu and stuff. So I think Cell 10 is a little bit more forgiving. But we can cancel the speed bar manipulation with Quasar there. And also, Night Stalkers is much faster than all the Guardians. So could very well be some sort of combination team here, and maybe we sub in, I don't know, we can use a taunter or something here, right? Or we could just, I don't know, we'll figure it out. We'll use somebody. Just don't use your null. You want to save your null, because if you use your null here, you're not going to use them later on. So save your null for sure. And again, if you're not using Brimstone here, you can use Brimstone in the next section, but Brimstone would probably most likely make short work of this one as well here. The next one is a little bit more difficult because we've got the absolute A-Force. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try I'm going to try this team again here because, yeah, Emma Frost will block some of that speed bar. The speed stat from Medusa that we found out earlier. And, of course, as well, we should be able to actually incorporate in this one as well. We should be able to incorporate our Scarlet Witch as well to block off speed bar fill for Kahori, right? So she could very well be one of the key pieces as well to this, right? So she could make it work as well. So we'll see how it goes. And then the last one, like I said, we just talked about that. That's going to be an absolute monster. We'll see if our null 3 Annihilators can deal with it. And if we need to maybe slot in Surfer Breaker to kind of complete the puzzle, we can try him out here because, again, like I said, I think he's probably the most important piece besides Null, just because he's new, he's shiny. And, yeah, I'd like to break up the 3-piece Annihilators and, you know, maybe have Shadow King instead. But, man, they just bring so much, like, they just have so much synergy with each other. And then, of course, Null brings on Carnage, and Carnage fuels Gore, because Gore is also symbiote. So yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to take out the one. We got a Taunter from Gladiator, and then of course as well we got Thanos Endgame doing what he's, you know, good at, being annoying, right? So yeah, definitely for sure the last one I think will be difficult. But anyways, guys, hopefully this will help you guys out. Hopefully it gives you guys a little bit of early planning here. We do have a bit of time here to kind of strategize and kind of theory craft as well here. But I'm sure, yeah, when it actually goes live, then it's going to be a little different from obviously just this theory crafting stuff. But other than that, guys, sorry, my apologies for the lengthy video. I always try to make these short, but man, it's like once you start jarbling on and going through all the teams and stuff, yeah, every couple minutes all adds up. So apologies for the long ass video. But anyways, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. If there's any updates, I'll bring them to you guys. But always appreciate you guys, taking the time to go through this and taking the time to comment as well and to throw some feedback back my way. Thank you guys again, and I will see you guys in the next one.